Hi, everyone. Welcome to our podcast today. It's going to be a quick one, but we wanted to talk a little bit today about what employers need to be doing that's critical for Q1 and Q2 to set yourself up to be able to take advantage of any opportunities to improve quality of health and lower cost in your healthcare plans. So in Q1, what we really think about are the key milestones that we need to accomplish are reallocating your budget for 2021, right? So looking at open enrollment and who moved to different plans and tier migration, right? So the people that move from single to family, family to single. So reallocating your budget is the first thing that we do at the beginning of the year. And then shortly thereafter, we want to make sure that we put everybody on notice for what the two critical pieces are that we need to accomplish in March and April. So right now we're heading into February, and we have had our account managers send out notes to the carriers and tell the carriers we need calendar year end utilization data for 2020. We're asking for 2019 as well. So we want to normalize kind of the dip in experience and utilization that we saw due to COVID. So what we're asking for is 24 months of utilization to really help us in the third thing that we have to do in Q1, and that's our strategy development. So we want to understand what the problems are that we're trying to solve for, because you can't really build a strategy unless you know what the problems are. So the utilization data is going to tell us what's driving cost, what are the major chronic diseases within the population, so we can do a focused approach with our strategy. The top drivers of cost for most companies are cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. So if those are your prevailing chronic illnesses or illness diagnosis, you want to make sure that you're building a strategy that will not only support your members by giving them access to the top quality providers and information on what's covered and what's not covered, but we also want to make sure for the employer that we're designing value-based plan designs so that we can engage our employees in helping them help themselves. So an example of that is diabetes, right? Diabetes has tons of comorbidities, unfortunately. So when you suffer from diabetes, you have to make sure that you get podiatric care, your retinal eye exam every year. So you can build a program around that, or in the strategy meeting, you might say, we need help. There's plenty of companies out there that do disease management for diabetes. There's some new ones that are hitting the market that are really interesting, that look at gut microbial health and how that affects the diabetic. So there's a lot of opportunities. You just want to make sure that you're looking at your data and really understanding what your top drugs are, your top, understanding whether you have a lot of specialty utilization, name brand drugs versus generic, and what generic drugs have come to the market. And with that information, you're really armed in that strategy meeting to put targeted strategy approaches together for cost control and, of course, improved quality of health for your members. So those are the few things that you really need to focus on. We actually have, the utilization meetings at the end of March. There's a claim lag, so the carriers take a little bit at the beginning of the year to get the data together for us. So we usually ask for that data at the end of March, and then in April, early April, Q2, basically, we're sitting down with our clients and helping you build a strategy. So we're saying, okay, here's the data, here's what we're solving for, and here's what we think the prevailing answers are in the marketplace. And that's really the fourth thing, right, that you need to understand is what's out in the marketplace. I have said this before, and I truly believe it's true. We are going to experience more change in the next 5 years than we have in the last 50 in healthcare. And garnering some of those opportunities and putting those into our healthcare plan will help the members, and it's going to lower cost. So last week we did a podcast or a presentation that was a little bit different, and I got a lot of good feedback. It had no PowerPoint presentations, and it was really just videos on helping HR understand the marketplace and what marketplace trends are doing and what's happening in the medical field that we can grab onto and put pieces of those into our healthcare plans for our members. So every HR person has to understand what a pharmacogenomic is if you manage benefits, because that's the big tsunami that's coming in 21 and 2022. So if you ask me, what do employers need to be worried about or thinking about? It's the pharmacogenomics, it's the gene therapies. These treatments are very, very expensive, and there's over 50 new treatments in the pipeline for FDA approval in the next 2 years. So it's something that we have to make sure that not only are we getting the benefit from those therapeutic treatments in the way of curing diseases that we would have been, treating for a very long time, but really making sure that we're being smart about how the pharmacy program is rolling things out. I'll give you another example: specialty drugs. So specialty drugs are very expensive. They're usually injectables, and they usually have a high amount of side effects as well as a high dollar cost. So split first fills is something that we have put in place with our clients, because you don't want to give somebody a 30-day supply of a $4,000, $5,000 drug if you're not sure that they're going to be able to manage through some of the side effects, manage through the administration of it. And they have very special handling requirements. Most of them require refrigeration. So we want to make sure that the first fill is a half a dose, right? So you pay for half of the 30-day supply, and the member pays half a copay. And it's really a win-win. The other thing that we've taken a look at is who's dispensing the specialty medication. We've really tried to shy away from getting specialty drugs at retail, because we really feel like the member needs to be coached through preemptively how to use the drug, the side effects, and really getting in front of those things. So you can see, understanding what your utilization and what's driving cost really is part and integral to building a sustaining strategy. And a sustaining strategy, in my opinion, is not just cost shifting. It's really understanding how we can help our members help themselves, and how we all can do better at using these precious resources in healthcare, and making sure that we're giving our members as much information as we possibly can to help them. So thanks for tuning in today. Hopefully you got a few little nuggets. So call your carriers and get your utilization data and get those strategy sessions set up. We have a great presentation coming up in 2 weeks where we're going to be interviewing. I'm going to be interviewing our experts on the absence management side. So HR is struggling, trying to understand, if you have multiple states and multiple employees in multiple states, the statutory regulations in 18 different states are different. Sometimes the leave policies are different within a state. So we're going to interview our experts and get their feel for what employers should be thinking about, what you should be incorporating in your leave policies, and really what the marketplace is doing on that side of the house. So we welcome our experts, and we look forward to chatting with you again in 2 weeks. Take care, everybody, and be safe.